Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Random. Egberto Willis, your host. Thank you so kindly for being part of the show. We're going to have a great show for you today, as usual. Anyhow, folks, what's today? Tuesday? How's everybody's Tuesday been? I trust that it's all okay. Welcome aboard. Lee Grant is in the house. Eric Hayes is in the house. Bridge MCP is in the house. Melanie Keaton is in the house. Paul Fleming is in the house. AVQ, Bridge. Michael Rudden is in the house. Yvette Avery Herod is in the house. Well, welcome aboard, folks. Anybody else that's around, come on, show yourself. And please remember, go ahead and give us that thumbs up right away. And please also remember, E2247 is in the house. Bruce is in the house, and he says, woof, woof. All right, Bruce, welcome aboard to Politics Done Right. Just got back from Lone Star College. I was starving. You know, I'm doing this intermittent fast. 8 hours on. Between noon and 8, I can eat. After that, I can't eat. And then I do a complete 36-hour fast on Sundays. That's what I'm doing. Seems to be kind of working, not only with my weight, with my pressure. Of course, I'm only done it now for 2 weeks. But it seems to have been giving it some good results, including with the pressure. So I am happy for that. Madea Benjamin was there. And of course, there were folks who immediately in the audience told her that she sounded pro-Putin, which is not the case. I mean, I think she sounded pro-neutral to me. But who knows? Egberto, how is the tofu treating you? I like the tofu. Actually, I bought some tofu. I tried to season it. It wasn't to my daughter's satisfaction, so she went and got a whole lot more stuff and soaked it. So now it is very well seasoned. Now I want to go ahead and do something with it. We'll see. Anyhow, let's see where we're at. If I have any more hellos to say. All right, until other hellos come on in. By the way, folks, give us that thumbs up on YouTube. Give us that like on Facebook. Give us whatever you can on Twitch. And on Twitter, please remember to follow me, Egberto Willis, at Egberto Willis. Remember to follow me at egbertowillis.com. All right, the power plant is related to the CA thing years ago and the Ohio plant as well. Okay, I'll get down to that a little bit later. Anyway, NBC News says, on social media, a theory persists about North Carolina power outage while police have... Now, I just ate popcorn, so I have a little bit of kernels around. While police have not identified suspect nor provided a motive for the targeted attacks on 2 energy substations in North Carolina over the weekend, one theory has quickly taken hold on social media. The outages were intended to shut down the drag show performance. The theory, which sprouted up almost immediately after the power went out in Moore County around 8:15 p.m. on Saturday, came after weeks of threats and hours of protests from far-right activists against the Downtown Divas drag show set to take place in Sunrise Theater that night. And it was seemingly buoyed by a cryptic post from a vehement opponent of drag show performances. While this looks like an act of terrorism as the power station was damaged by gunfire, I have to wonder, does the motive even matter? The suspect shut off power during a winter chill. If even one person dies of hypothermia as a result, the perpetrator should be charged with felony murder. I agree. Why does other people's behavior so bother some? Live and let live. If you don't want to be a drag queen, then stay your butt home. You don't have to be around them. What's the point, folks? We have to teach. Folks like to talk about individualism. You know, the same people that are attacking the trans folks love to talk about individualism. It's a shame. Individualism, my foot. When somebody does something that they want to do, then you want to be a part of it. Come on now. Second item from Michael Rudnan. BBC News. U.S. Capitol riot committed to make criminal referrals. Chairman Bernie Thompson says hundreds of supporters of former President Donald Trump stormed the Capitol on the day in a bid to thwart the certification. We all know that. Some 900 people have been arrested. We all know that. I have to say that the January 6th Commission is late on this, as they should have made such recommendations directly after the election so as to avoid any appearance of politicization. House Republicans are likely to give the DOJ a hard time next year while the FBI and DOJ investigate the extent of the Trump's actions. That said, Trump himself continues bragging about his criminal behavior on social media, betting that any jury will have at least one Trumpster who would deadlock the vote and ultimately hang the jury. You think so? I kind of think people are running tired of Brother Trump. Very tired of Brother Trump. All right. Michael Run in USA Today, Georgia 2022 Senate runoff live updates. 2 million have already voted in Warnock-Walker race. If Warnock wins the 51-seat majority by Senate Democrats' control of committees and frees them from leaning on Vice President Kamala Harris to cast tie-breaking votes, polls close in 3 hours for any Georgian who still haven't cast their runoff vote. If Warnock wins, Democrats will no longer have the excuse that Manchin and Sinema held up the... Well, if Manchin and Sinema work in concert, of course, that's still a majority because you cannot break, that's still a majority that they would form with the Republicans. As a bonus, Trumpism within the Republican Party will be seen as a losing proposition, further removing the stain of fascism from the Republican Party, who have thus far been reluctant to directly oppose the worst that Trump has to offer. I agree. All right, let's continue. Bree says, AVQ, send me link for FB show. It's not on this feed for me. Eric Hayes says, is the Twitter reporter a progressive like others says he is? The journalist and author behind the so-called the Twitter files that reveal the social media giant extreme steps to censor the post-Hunter Biden laptops scoop hinted about the explosive I've had it with the Biden stuff. All right, let's see. Bridge MCP says, got it. What the hell is up with FB and me for this show? You know what, Bridge? Because you are one of our most effective leaders, they want to give you a hard time. E2247 says, Berto, thanks for putting up this Tuesday, December 26th. It's Peace Ukraine. All right, my brother, I am. Oh, thank you. That's what I did. In fact, I just got back from this at Kingwood, Lone Star Kingwood. She gave, and I recorded it live so anybody can see it on our network. And I'll clean it up some. And then after cleaning it up, I'll post the entire video on our podcast as well. But it was a great occurrence. Hey, Bruce, I went out to Kingwood College to see it. And you know what? After I got there, I thought about, man, I should have swung by your house and picked you up to come on and so that we could have another warm body in there as well. But we had a lot of students showed up as well. But I thought about it too late. I was already at Kingwood College setting my video and stuff up. Next time we do that, I'll come and pick you up if you have the time to do it, my brother. Let's see what else we got here. Paul Fleming says Donald Trump's company found guilty on tax fraud. What's next? That's the first step. That they're showing the deception one step at a time. And I think by the time they're ready to make the case, it's going to be there. All right, Fernando A.J. Alcoforado has a pithy academic analysis up at War, Ukraine, and the current wars. Thank you for that, E2247. Maywood, welcome aboard. Alcorado paper is short, pithy, downloadable, PDF. Thank you for that, brother. Eric Hayes says, Colonel Egberto at duty. Si, senor. Whatever your needs, I'm here to serve. Paul Fleming Sr. says the January 6th police officer skipped shaking Mitch McConnell's hand as well as McCarthy. I saw that. Lee Grant says some people aren't comfortable with exposing children to this sexualized entertainment. It's not exposed to students. It is exposed to whoever paid to go to the theater to see it. And as far as exposing students, those students that you think are so innocent, including, my daughter tells me some of the stuff that had happened in high school, brother, it'll shock you. So no, this is a bit deeper. Paul Fleming says the Justice Department subpoenaed Arizona, Michigan, and Wisconsin officials. We have communications with Donald Trump. Who had communication with Donald Trump? Oh, I love that. Daniel Ado says, subsume your individualism to the will of the collective. Resistance is futile. That's not what we're saying, Daniel. But I can understand why you'll take it to the extreme. Egberto, show the FB link. It's out there. I'll go ahead and put it in the feed. Thank you very much for that, senor. All right, folks. Rodnan just told me to put this FB link for everybody to see wherever they are. Let's see what else we got. I wanted to come back maybe another time. Hey, Bruce, you got to help me out here, man. If you want to come to these things, give me a call because I always love your company, brother. Let's see. What else we got here? Daniel, let's see what else we got. Gotta go back up. Maria Benjamin discusses Ukraine. Oh, you found the feed. Love you, E2247. All right, we got no blank checks. I agree with you, sir. That was from Eric Hayes. Mike Cisak says, Daniel Ledo is the Borg in Star Trek was modeled after the authoritarian political left. No, I think you mean right. Fascism and authoritarianism is a right thing, sir. All right, let's see what else we got here. Paul Fleming says, why is the Holocaust denial still happening when we have video and pictures of what happened to Jewish people? It's a shame that is the case. I agree with you. It's a shame. The Holocaust is real. The Jewish people were persecuted. All of that is true. No reason for anybody to deny that. Daniel Ledo says sexual deviance require the youth to be normalized to their sickness. Not true at all. But what can I say? Egberto, that link you just posted was your own live stream. Show that you're running right now. Okay, thank you, sir. All right, folks. I have my first video. It's about Arizona. I want you to see how this guy tackled it. And by the way, bring on the info, folks. Bring on the info. Big kudos for the new Secretary of State-elect, Arizona Secretary of State-elect, Adrian Fontes. And let me tell you why. He is taking the truth directly to the people, but in a very, very rational and carnal fashion. I want you to listen to how he addressed election deniers. I think every single person who believes in this democracy, every single person who believes in elections should learn to address it the way he did, because he left no uncertain terms here. Check this out. We'll take it on the other side.
Mr. Secretary of State-elect, congratulations. You tweeted in the last 24 hours that the 2022 election was only the first battle in election deniers' war against American democracy. Arizona, of course, a major battleground state, going to be hotly contested for 2024. President Biden, as an aside, will be there today. What are some steps that can be put in place to safeguard the elections in Arizona in 2024 to make sure that they are indeed fair and freely contested, but also to prevent election deniers causing more trouble?
Well, first and foremost, we're not just going to call them election deniers. They are MAGA fascists. They don't care about American voters. They don't even care about their own voters, based on the delay that we saw in Cochise County, which is a heavily Republican county in southeastern Arizona. And so we're going to attack their lies with vigor and with the truth, because we've got the truth on our side. We've got justice on our side. We've got American democracy and American voters on our side. And so we're going to push as hard as we can against the misinformation and disinformation that they continue to peddle with no evidence, no legitimacy. And those lawsuits that are being threatened right now, they're not going to go anywhere. So we won't countenance even a short discussion of them.
Before the election, Arizona seemed like if anywhere in the country was going to be the location of mass protests and even violence, it seemed primed for it. But that moment really seems like it has passed. Do you think that democracy prevailed this year in Arizona?
Absolutely. I think, the spirit of American democracy is alive and well in Arizona and in every battleground state. Regular Americans want to move away from the nonsense, the chaos, the unpredictability. They want to move towards government that's going to help them prosper, help them have opportunities for themselves and their families, help them live happy, healthy lives. That's what we're supposed to be doing, and I hope we can move our focus away from the nonsense and into governing for all Americans.
Adrian Fontes, I tell you, our actualist Adrian Fontes, let me tell you something, guy. I wish every single Democrat, every single progressive, when dealing with the MAGA issue, when dealing with the election denier issue, would take your words into account. They are not election deniers. They are MAGA fascists. They want to simply come into power, voter be damned. And the other important piece that I like that he mentioned is they were willing to sacrifice their own voters in Arizona They were willing to sacrifice their own voters to simply make a point. And had that judge not forced them to not deny the vote of their own people, a very Republican district, which would have lost them a couple of seats, a seat and I think a Board of Education seat or something like that. Absent the judge coming in and saying, no, you will not deny the people's rights. You must certify the election. Then who knows what would have happened. And he made sure to mention that very accurately. They do not care about their people. They do not care about Americans. They simply care about empowering the few, empowering the fascist few, using a confused MAGA fascist sect. Absolutely so. Absolutely so. I want to address Ledo. Ledo said the following, because, they try to make it look like it's the left, right? This is what Brother Ledo said. I just pulled it up. What happened to... he said, sexual deviance require the youth to be normalized to their sickness. Not true. But how often do we forget Dennis Hastert? Remember this guy here? Remember this guy? You remember this guy? He hates... He wants to take away rights from women. He wants to make sure you can't have an abortion. He is so pure. He wants so much to be good in the eyes of the Lord. Of course, he's full of crap. But this guy, Dennis Hastert, who reached the highest level in the House, the third in line to the presidency, or I should say the second in line to the presidency, after the vice president, the Speaker of the House, second in line to the presidency. And who is this guy? A pedophile who hates gays, supposedly, who passes anti-gay laws, supposedly. But this guy was raping kids, boys. Right? This has nothing to do with the left. This has to do with people that are evil. And I always talk about the Republican leaders. Whenever they're speaking, they should be looking in a mirror. Because this guy was a powerful... There's even the Hastert rule. All kinds of things in this guy's name, in Dennis Hastert's name. From a guy who's nothing but a pedophile. And you guys gonna talk about our trans brothers and sisters? Please. At least these guys are saying who they are. This guy not only said who he was, he didn't say who he was, but he acted on who he is, not on other consenting adults. Not on other consenting adults. But I wasn't equating pedophiles are not gay men. I wasn't accounting. That's not the implication that I wanted to say. I wanted to say that this guy in his evil, under the cloak of gayness, unexplored, uncloseted gayness, exploited little boys. That's all, Bridge. There was absolutely no connotation or equation or trying to create a false equivalency between gays and pedophiles at all. So if anybody got that, I apologize if it came out that way. That's absolutely not the intent. Let's see what else we got here. Coming back now. Let's get back to the story. I can get rid of that pedophile off our screen. All right, let's see what we got here. Eric Hayes says, "You're lovely, Harris." I won't do that. Let's see. Bridge MCP says that North Carolina plant and the Ohio plants and the California plant has nada to do with gay, trans, etc. It's white supremacists. Exactly. Michael says, Bridge, the problem being that those extremist sites are the only ones Mike C seems to be reading. I've not seen Mike C posting anything from highly factual sites. And that concerns me about Mike C, because Mike C is like a disciple of a lot of these sites, right? And to him, it's real. We can't hate on Brother Mike Cisak. We can't. We have to kind of earn Mike Cisak's respect. That what he's reading is genuinely lying crap. And that what we are reading actually makes sense. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. Daniel Lado says the corruption runs deep, but Egberto is a true believer, willing to go to whatever means necessary to their agenda. No, Daniel. But you know what, Daniel? I would love to have coffee and lunch with you and Eric. You guys are both in the Kingwood area. I would love to go out with to coffee with you guys where we can actually talk mano a mano, face to face, and just sit down and rap for its sake. And then I ask you a bunch of questions. You ask me a bunch of questions. I would love to go there. If you really are if you're really open to truth, and I'm not saying my truth, I'm just saying truth. If you're open to that, we should be able to sit down, have a cup of coffee, have a light lunch, maybe a salad or something. I would love to engage you in that kind of a domain where it's not who can hit the quickest one-liner. I would love to sit down and have a conversation. Anyway, Maywood says, replying to Michael Rudden, yes, this is how Michael has a rule. As soon as I realize from the New York Post, I just skip it. Yeah, you should. The New York Post, if you see something from the New York Post, given that it's highly improbable to be correct, it is best to pass it over than to go ahead and spend your time fact-checking each item. Lee Grant says, we had voter week in Georgia, and today's in Georgia election day, and yet we hear about voter suppression. Yeah, I'd still talk about voter suppression. Listen to what Greg Palast had to say, and these people are voting despite the voter suppression. All right. Let's see. Michael Rudnin says, Egberto, in 2020, Republicans sacrificed their people for the economy when they denied vaccines, mask wearing, and social distance. Yeah, they got a lot of their people killed. Dead. Muertos. Fallecidos. I could make many other examples. I could just use Texas as an example, not having a Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act. That's it. All right, Egberto Hayes says, Egberto, take the plank out of your eye. You can't blindly talk on a group, maybe on one you think. I don't think I was doing that. Michael Rene says, those who are worried about pedophilia or other sexual deviances are very often the perpetrators demonstrating self-loathing. Exactly. Lee Grant says, Hastert would probably be comfortable with bringing kids to drag shows. No, he wouldn't be. Remember who he was, Lee Grant? This guy was one of the in fact, he's the one who has Hastert rules. He was vicious. Harris County voter suppression. Oh, really now? Pamela Lakewood Land. How are you doing, Pamela? Welcome aboard. Any person that hurts a child is going to get milestone and sink. We are responsible for every single child. Keep our eyes on them, even if they're not your family. I love you, girl. That is a sentiment we should all have. Thank you for that sentiment. It's a necessary sentiment that should be ingrained in us all. Daniel Sell, LOL. Oops, Egberto almost committed the sin of heresy. Notice the quick backpedal and change of subject. Yeah, me too. Change of subject or what? I don't know what you're talking about. Drag shows have been going on for over 60 years and heteros love them. But no, it's not for kids. Lee Grant says, right, it's not out for kids. Daniel Edo say, yeah, just hang out for a little rap session with Goebbels. I don't care what you call me, Daniel. You can call me whatever. I would love to have lunch with you. I'd love to have a coffee with you, no matter what you want to call me. Okay? And I mean that from the depths of my heart. All right, Egberto, Egberto, in this regard, you're a better man than me. You can try to engage with the trollers without feeling the urge to just block them and move on. They won't debate. They'll jabber. They have different goals, not to become an understanding, but solely to piss you off for their enjoyment. But, if they're trying to do that for my enjoyment, they will lose because I don't get pissed off on this. I feel their pain. And when I say I feel their pain, I really mean it. These guys are scared. They think somebody is coming for a birthright they never had. That is what the Powell Manifesto did to many people. It gave them the impression that they were more than the other. It gave them the impression that they had some God-given right to something, including this land. And all we are here to say is, good luck. That is not the case. And you know what? The good thing about it is we are in a free enough country now. We're guys who look like me, guys who look like Lopez, guys who look like others, have no fear in expressing the truth. That's all. So, you know, my thing is to kind of let Daniel and these guys remember, after true liberation came to South Africa, guess what happened? Guess what happened? People lived, for the most part, in harmony. For the most part, in harmony. So no sweat. No sweat, brothers. No sweat. No sweat. No tienen que perspirar. Paul Fleming says 208 Republicans just voted against immigrants who serve in the military to have the ability to become American citizens. And all of that we should remember. And South Africa is not a mess, Lee Grant. I have friends who go not only to Pretoria, but also to the different major cities. All I could remember is Pretoria, which is a capital, but to Summerland and all these other places. So no, South Africa is no more a mess than we are. Okay? If you want an echo chamber, leave now. Global reset, think is evil. Hey, Eric Hayes, when's the last time you see me posting something from MSDNC or CNN over here? I can remember the last time I posted something. Look, you can Eric, you don't give Running a hard time. And because the guy does his homework. He finds good articles that are worthwhile. In fact, he sent me videos that have made the subject of this show many times. So has Bridge MCP, and actually Lee Grant did one once as well. So no, it's okay. Michael Rudden, Cape Town, population 4.7 million. Johannesburg, 5.6 million. Durban, 3.4 million. Pretoria, 740,000, which is the capital. Population 970 in Bloemfontein. In Bloemfontein, 560 East London. I don't know how to pronounce the other one. So that's the case. Anyway, so let's be real. Before I go into the last video, I want to bring up something that I want to read you guys a story from Common Dreams, because I came up here and it kind of drove me crazy. And the title of the article is Heartbreaking and Pathetic. U.S. obstructs patent waiver for COVID tests and treatments. And it goes like this. There have been at least 290,000 deaths from COVID-19 since the WTO punted on the question of global access to tests and treatments back in June, said one advocate. How many more need to die before the U.S. joins the right side of history? Global health campaigner denounced U.S. President Joe Biden administration for refusing to support a temporary suspension of patent for COVID-19 tests and treatments this year. I need to put that on the screen, don't I? In a statement released on Tuesday morning, U.S. Trade Representative Katherine Tai said that over the past 5 months, USTR officials held robust and constructive consultations with Congress, government experts, and a wide range of stakeholders, multilateral institutions, and the WTO members. Tai continued. Real questions remain on a range of issues, and the additional time coupled with information from the USITC, United States International Trade Commission, will help the world make a more informed decision on whether extending the ministerial decision to COVID-19 therapeutics and diagnostic would result in increased access to those products. Transparency is critical, and the USTR will continue to consult with Congress, stakeholders, and others as we continue working to end the pandemic and support the global economic network. You notice they talk about stakeholders. They don't specifically tell you. They mean big pharma. As Bloomberg reported, investigations of the sort that Taiwan wants the USTI to pursue can make the 9 months to a year to complete, pushing the prospects for a comprehensive waiver of the WTO's agreement on trade-related aspects of the intellectual property rights well into 2030, 2023 and beyond. What they want to do is they want to kill the people out, right? They want to delay. And if you delay, don't worry about it. By then, it's the drug is useless. So they want to profit as much as they can from the drug while the pandemic is still on, while the virus is still very active. I tell you, when I tell you that capitalism in this form has no soul, that is what I mean. Let them die. It's the same thing with the Texas and the Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act. What does it mean, folks? We have to get real. This moment of weakness will cost countless lives in low and middle income countries. Aren't we the country that believes in life? It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. All right, let's continue with the article. Go read the article on your own. It's a worthwhile article to read. I just wanted to put it out there because I think what I like to do is show some items from different areas, etc., etc., etc. All right, let's go to Eric Hayes. Rudnin equal articles equal rhetoric to fit show? No. Rudnin equals articles equal fact-based information. Mike Cisak says, Maywood, seems you are pretty clueless about what has been going on. For example, Boston Hospital has admitted to doing such surgeries on teenagers under 18. I don't know about that, but I'll take your word for it, Mike Cisak, on that one, because I can foresee that a 17-year-old can make a decision on their own, right? Mike Cisak says, Biden administration endorses transgender youth sex change operations, top surgery, hormone therapy. Okay. I think they support no surgery too, right? Eric Hayes, most of my intro commentary follow a consistent format. Article source, double check for highly factual accuracy. Article title, relevant snippet from the article, personal commentary that I think is worth mentioning. Article link. And anyone can do your format, Rudnin. I don't mind doing that and reading it here because I want you guys to be an integral part of the story. Lee Grant gives us a travel memo on it says in South Africa. Let's do this, okay? Let's do something here. And I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer, but here's what we have. South Africa, exercise high degree of caution. Latest update, the health section was updated, travel information. Risk level, all right. Let's see, the risk level of South Africa is, and it gives you all the areas that you should kind of avoid, etc., etc. Safety and security. South Africa has a very high level of crime. Crime is a primary security threat to travelers. Violent crime, including rape and murder, occur frequently and have involved foreigners. Muggings, armed assault, and theft. Okay, I'm curious. I don't know what it says for the United States, but it probably has nothing because it's from. Let's see what it says for the United States. I am going to try putting the United States in there and see what it comes up with. Let's see what we look like. Okay. Take normal security precaution is green. I wonder why a Canadian company, travel.gc.ca, would have it as large. Let's see security and check. Criminal incidents associated with drug trafficking are more frequent. Okay, let's see. Petty crime. Petty crime is such as pickpocket and purse. Violent crime, which large urban areas. Violent crime more commonly occurs in poor neighborhoods, particularly from dusk to dawn. All of that could have been placed for South Africa. Okay, all of that could have been in for South Africa, which would have given South Africa a green bar as well. Here's the thing, folks. I have friends who have gone to South Africa. I have friends who have fun in South Africa. I have friends who go clubbing in South Africa. These are tainted stuff. In America, everybody is packing. A foreigner who doesn't know the streets in South Africa cuts off somebody in the streets. Okay? And what you think is going to happen? Rudnan wants me to look for gun violence. Gun violence, the rate of firearm possession in the U.S. is high. It's legal in many states, the U.S. to openly carry firearms in public. Incidents of mass shooting occur, most often in casualties. Although terrorists are rarely involved, there's a risk of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. There you go. But still yet, we get a green. South Africa gets a, what did they get, a yellow? Let's do South Africa again. I mean, when we talk about bias, this is the kind of stuff that we're talking about, right? Whenever we talk about bias, this is what we're talking about. Let me go to, I want to bring up South Africa again. Destinations, let's see. Let's go ahead and let's do this here. You brought this up, sir. I got to follow up on this. Because what happens is the bias and even the bias in which we do things, right? South Africa. All right, let's see gun violence. Wrong one. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't get it right. South Africa. I want to give you guys something to talk about. I think that's going to work. All right, we go. So exercise extreme caution. Let's go to safety and security. Safety and security. Okay, safety and security. Oh my God, there's nothing about guns? Wow. There must be something about guns in there, since that would be your most big issue, right? Oh my God. Nothing about, listen, America has mass killing, mass shooting. And they even mentioned it inside of that article, and they give America a green. We have mass shootings and guns. And check out South Africa. There is not one mention of gun in South Africa in safety and security. Risk level. Do you see the bias here, folks? Do you see the bias? I know the source is the Canadian government. Do you think the Canadian government is going to put a yellow on the United States? Who has more crime rate? Let's see crime rate in USA versus South Africa. I'm curious. I don't know these answers. Okay. Murder rate 34, the United States 5. For 343 ranked 18th, 41% more than the United States. 343.56 ranked 27. Now let's go ahead. What we need to do is normalize it, right? We should normalize it for the environment. Normalize it for poverty. And notice what you're going to come up with. What we always speak about. So, bias, hell yes, bias. Bias, hell yes, bias. All right, let's continue with the show. But again, I want you guys to look at the yellow and the green for both. All right. I have one more video that I want to show you, and then I'll come back and we'll take it again. Okay, that goes right here. There we go. I've spoken often about our economic system and how it is laid out. I've spoken about the flaws within our economic system that are flaws not by some accident, but by design. I've showed many times that what we are designed to do is to keep a particular sect in this country, a particular group, a particular percentage in economic bondage. And it goes over people's heads often as like, you're just being negative. I want you to listen to this report. Remember, we had the employment rate, or the number of people that got hired was greater than expected. We still have high inflation, mostly based on gorging by the wealthy, gorging by the plutocracy. But somehow we remain indoctrinated into believing that somehow this is just how things are. Somehow this is just how things are supposed to be. Listen to this. And this seems like a pretty benign report, but there's a lot that underlies it. I want you to listen.
Jobs soar as Americans shop amid high inflation. NBC's Tom Costello has the latest on the better than expected November jobs report.
Further evidence that good news for Main Street, more jobs, isn't always good news for Wall Street or the Federal Reserve. The government reports 263,000 jobs were added in November, far more than expected. The biggest gains were in leisure, hospitality, healthcare, government, and construction. Unemployment still near 50-year lows, but with more jobs than workers to fill them, wages jumped 5.1% year over year. And that's the catch.
Yeah, this is a hot number. It gives the Fed permission to keep increasing interest rates.
While higher wages help families partially offset 40-year high inflation, bigger paychecks only make the inflation worse. Trying to tamp down inflation, the Federal Reserve has raised interest rates 6 times this year. Now it will likely have to keep raising rates this month and into the new year, potentially sending mortgages, loans, and credit card costs even higher. The Fed chairman making it clear this week the tight labor market is a problem.
So this is a great labor market in that sense. It's too great in a way because it's going to be adding to inflation.
At the bookseller in Chicago, owner Susie Takacs is paying more for everything.
It costs more for employees to pay for food and for rent and for whatever things they enjoy too. So if you want staff in your store, you have to be able to pay them.
Meanwhile, the country appears to have dodged an economic bullet or freight train after President Biden signed a law today imposing a new contract on railroads and workers to avert a crippling rail strike. Today, the president was taking a victory lap.
Americans are working, the economy is growing, wages are rising faster than inflation, and we've avoided a catastrophic rail strike.
So here's the first thing that grabbed me on the report. Good news for Main Street isn't always good news for Wall Street or the Federal Reserve. What the hell does that mean? That people getting jobs, etc. Somehow now Wall Street goes crazy because, oh my God, based on our economic model, if a lot of people are working, if a lot of people have money, the rates of the price of everything is going to go up. That's the teachings that you get. Forgetting that previous to the gouging by the plutocracy, even as we deficit spending and did all of this, prices didn't go up because you know what is required for prices to really go up in a supply and a true orthodox supply and demand system? What has to happen is that you have to have shortages. But guess what? For most of the things that America needs, there aren't shortages. There's not shortages in petroleum. There are not shortages in food if we really want it, right? Now, we have always created in our economic system false shortages, like not allowing enough milk to get on the land or paying farmers not to grow as much as they can, etc. So remember, our system is predicated on creating shortages for high prices to keep a few wealthy. You think I'm kidding? Here's what they say. More jobs than workers to fill cause wage increases. True. But you have to ask yourself the other question, right? We have a border problem with a lot of people coming over the border. Well, let's wait on that before, because there's another thing they said. Bigger paychecks makes inflation worse. All these are tenets they throw into your heads, right? Justify increasing prices solely because people have more money. In other words, we are going to take all the money you have. You got a stimulus check. You know what we're going to do? Even if there's not shortages in gasoline, we're going to charge you more. Even if there's not shortages in corn, we're going to charge you more. Even if there's not shortages of fertilizers, where in your locale, we are going to charge you more. Again, the psychology of teaching you these fallacies about supply and demand. There is a supply-demand issue that can cause the rise in prices if there are shortages or if there are manufactured shortages, which is what we do. Create a whole lot of manufactured shortages. Even this stuff about employment is a manufactured shortage. There are a lot of people ready to work in America right now, right at the border, right all over, ready to work. So what's their solution, however? Instead of bringing more workers in so that we can make sure that we have ample supply of products being created to mitigate any inflation, what we say, oh, no, we're just going to penalize those that are here now. So we're going to raise interest rates on them. And who does that hurt? It hurts the people who had to depend on credit anyhow. The people that least need to pay more are the ones who are most going to affect it. You have a mortgage, you're going to pay us more. You have a credit card debt, you're going to pay us more. And where is that money going to go again? Oh, well, yeah, the Federal Reserve actually takes money out of the system. But here's the other kicker. When they raise their rates by 0.75%, do you think your credit card is going to raise by 0.75%? No, it gives them the option to raise the rates even much higher. And that is what we actually see. We penalize the wealthy, the owners of capital gets to make more money as this goes on. Tight labor market. We don't really have a tight labor market. There are a lot of people who want to come into this country. We could solve our problem right now by simply getting all those workers that are really running away from Venezuela, from a fraudulent type of economic system that we help manufacture. And that's another story to explain in the terms that I just did. But we go ahead, right? And have skilled workers on the borders, workers that are ready to also take care of our farms, take care of our growing, take care of industry, so that we won't, because we don't have a supply problem of raw materials, we don't have a supply problem of foods, we don't have a supply problem of all these issues, so we have a tight labor market, we have a lot of people that are ready to work. But folks, understand this. It's not about you and me. It's not about making sure you and me can have regular cheap prices or economic prices, right? That's not what it's all about. Let's understand this. This is about maintaining a certain level, maintaining a certain amount of stress in that bottom 80%. You keep them stressful. You keep them knowing that they need you. Not really so, but that you've already indoctrinated them on how the economic system really works. You already indoctrinated them on what inflation really is. You already indoctrinated them on if you increase wages, somehow prices must go up. Let's start understanding economics 101. One of the reasons I write these books, from How to Make America Utopia to books like As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, isn't to be some person that is looking to raise hell. It's just so that we can understand, learn, so that we can elect folks that are going to really make the appropriate changes and not elect those whose job it is to lie to us to keep a few in charge, to keep a few stealing our wealth, to keep a few with their unearned income. This is not a joke. You know why they don't want you educated? Do you know why they don't want you thinking critically? If you started thinking critically, you'll start asking questions. You'll start asking why. Why do we pay for all the mistakes that the plutocracy makes? Supply chain, throwing jobs overseas, pandemic comes, it screws it all up. Just-in-time inventory, pandemic comes, screws it all up. Their fault. And then they say, you pay. And when there are any time implied shortages that they created, you pay. This is not an accident, folks. Let's unlearn the lies that's been taught through the inception of this country on certain parts of our economic system. And let's start educating ourselves. Let's start. And then let's make a difference. And let's elect those who will tell you the truth and will do the right thing by you. By you, absolutely. Which link am I missing, Bridge MCP, the Palace link that you said? I don't see that. Let me see if somehow I missed that, but I don't see that. Anyhow, folks, what do you think about that? I'm waiting. Let's see. Palast. Okay, Bree says, watch this about your voter suppression. If you want to learn Vigilante, Georgia's voter suppression hitman, I just watched it. It is unbelievable. It is now free, about an hour long, and oh my God, so worth it. Makes me so pissed. You can watch here. No donation. Watch. Here you go. Yeah, she put it in there. Yeah, go watch it. I haven't seen all of it. But you know, all of it. He's come on our show and spoke to me about it. But I'll take a look at it when I get a chance. All right. I'm going to go down the list real quickly because we're running out of time. So let me get to where I last jumped off. Let's see. Lee Grant says South Africa is a mess. I said it's not. Then Lee Grant says white farmers in South Africa are murdered at an alarming rate. Okay. First of all, I don't know what alarming means. I don't know what the definition of that is. Let me give an example. If one farmer got killed, and I don't want to sound too antiseptic about it because every killing is absolutely wrong. But if one farmer usually gets killed every year or so, but this particular, and there are thousands of farmers, and this particular year, 3 farmers got killed. That's a 200% increase in farmers being killed. That could be an alarming number. But it is also a fluke. I don't know. So that's what we're looking at. But people aren't running from South Africa to come to the United States. The power structure in South Africa is still almost identical to it was before because those who have capital didn't lose their capital. The black folks didn't say, give me all your money and get the hell out of here. You know, they had a transition that allowed equal access to success. I don't know how they handled particularly the wealth of those who pilfered for it, but we'll see. All right, let's see what else we got here. Let's see. I'm scrolling down. Egberto, no, Egberto, he is wrong. You didn't see his past posts. Okay, all right. I got to see what that is about. But anyway, Bridge will tell me a little later. Daniel says, I think we can all agree that there may be people that haven't had the chance to watch the Portugal game today. So common decency dictates we should all show restraint and refrain from speaking about it. Okay, I think that's fair. By the way, I didn't know you liked football, Daniel Ledo. All right, let's see. Anyone join the cult or just useful idiots? Are we talking about the right? Yeah, we are. All right, let's see. Michael says, Egberto, scroll down the paragraph directly after. I did that already. I say, okay. Make no mistake, Biden's HHS rule will force Christian medical providers to perform abortions or trans surgery or face lawsuits. The purpose to ostracize Christians from society and force audience adherence to the left. You know what drives me crazy about Christians on the right or evangelical Christians on the right? They think they have ownership to Christianity. My wife is a lefty and she's a Christian. My daughter is a lefty and she's a Christian. I'm a lefty and I'm a humanist. My sister or younger sister is a lefty. She's a Christian. My older sister is a Christian, an evangelical Christian, but she's a Trumpist. Stop thinking that somehow we want to get rid of Christianity when the people that do good are mostly on the left. We don't try to harm folk. All right. By the way, that's a bad statement I just made because the truth of the matter is a lot of folks on the right are damn good people that, that are just as generous as well. I take that back, actually. Because my sister is very generous. I know a lot of right-wingers that are very generous. So I'm talking about what they preach, though. It's very ungenerous. Okay. Michael Red says, Berto, what you have to understand, Lee Grant probably doesn't read the articles he links here. I've read many of the links he's posted and that are from high factual sources and then link snippets with help from May and Breach. There's no reply commentary. again, look, it's hard, and I can understand my right-wing brothers, right? They're in their sphere. We're going to have to be great to get them to come to the boundaries of their sphere so that we can get the necessary intersectionality. But I'm what's the word? I'm patient. Very patient. All right. The progressives in my feed are more pissed off at Biden and the Democrats over screwing all rail workers than they are at Republicans who block support. Yeah. And justifiably so, Michael, because Democrats should know better. I always tell people the following. I judge my blood family. And when I say blood family, I'm not necessarily talking about blood. I'm talking about my family, my sisters, brothers, and all of that are around me, more harshly than those who have not grown within this family structure. Michael, Rodney, let me tell you better about you and me. If you were to do some of the things Daniel Ledo does, I would judge you harsher than I judge Daniel Ledo. Because, Michael, I know you know better. Because, Michael, I know your mind. So that's an extra amount of oomph that you would have had to do wrong, if you get my drift. All right, let's see what else. Egberto, you keep skipping. I found it, and I think I said it, my dear, beautiful Bridge. Lee Grant says we need neo-Marxist re-indoctrination. No, I'm not. I am a person who believes in a bifurcated economy. I've said it a million times. All right, let's see. Bridge MCP, Rodney Reuters fact check. Social media users have been sharing posts online that falsely imply that LGBT community is accepting pedosexuals and other claims that the community will add to the acronym LGBTQ. The association of pedophilia to LGBTQ plus community is offensive and debunked. I don't think that's for me, because you know my heart already, Bridge, so I don't have to make that comment to you. Carl Cox says, it never ceases to amaze me that working American being paid a living wage are responsible for inflation. It's the mega rich, mega corporation who cause inflation true. All right, let's see. Deborah says, there are pedosexuals in all areas of life, but look at the conservative churchgoers, the upstanding pillars of the community. Watch 2,000 Mules. Oh, God. I won't watch something that's so corrupt. Not at all. Let's see. Deborah Moyer says, vigilantes will change your life and your view of American history. Thanks, Greg. Greg's a good guy. Lee Grant says, what precisely your evidence that debunks it? I don't know what you're talking about. All right. I donated to help get Palace film produced. It's outstanding. Please watch today. Thank you for that donation to Lee Grant. to Greg Palace, my friend. He's a good guy. Mike Cizek says, I have yet to see any debunking of the 2,000 Mules. Then you haven't been looking too hard. Let's see what else. Deborah Moyer says, Bridge, you are correct. Anyone in a position of power can use that power in a bad way. True. And, it's 4:02. Oh, my God. Let me see. I got to get out of here, guys. I'm sorry. I'll look at these other statements later, but I got to get out of here. My name is Egberto, and I didn't do my ass today. So all I'm going to do is ask you to please support our program. I'm going to just put one link in the stream and ask you to please go to that link and select how you want to support the program, if I can ever come up with it. Here we go. Please go to politicsdoneright.com/support, politicsdoneright.com/support to support our program. Alistair Waters, welcome aboard. I didn't see you in here before, but thank you all. Love you all. I got to get out of here. I got to go prepare a few things. Folks, love you all. Gotta go. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number 1, subscribe to our channel, and number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.